like, the closest thing I'm collecting this week, you've had since Tuesday. So if your 431 isn't done, you need to take a serious look at your priorities. And if you are actually keeping track of what needs done, using your plan book, using your time wisely, using AO, using extensions, we gotta get on top of this. Good thing about math though, it's gonna stay the same all year long. It's pretty much a homework a day, maybe. Like 3 or 4 per week, right? However that breaks down. This week we only had 2 homeworks. All your other classes are kind of ramping up with the workload and what they expect out of you. Math stays the same. It's just a homework a day, right? If that. So let's look at 831 or 8. Let's look at 431. But if you are not done with it, we are not copying answers. You can ask questions, but we are not copying answers. Yes. And then you might need to pull the extension cord back there. I got the real long one hooked up over there. Or no, yeah, you're right here this morning. So still, you can pull the extension cord. Guess you're not that far away. Area and perimeter. Any questions on 75? And after everything we did in class, you might have said that perimeter might change. Not that perimeter would change necessarily. You might say that it just might change because we saw in class 3 different shapes, like arrangements, that all had the same perimeters. Right? So during class we saw that we might have all the same perimeters. Any questions on 75? 76. More of the same stuff we've been doing, breaking apart the line, kind of scaling. Guys, this is essentially what we do when we go to draw a graph. We say, how far do I need to get to? How many boxes do I have to do it? Let's break it up and figure out what each box is worth. Moving on to 77, hopefully we all were able to figure out this does not start at 0, 0. Therefore, it is not proportional. Gosh, the amount of breakfast noise right now. It's just funny. Like, this schedule is not great. Stop avoiding the tough stuff. And the amount of homeworks that I see that it is obvious that you did not actually do the work for calculating the trapezoid, that you just copied it down or got it from somebody or went to homework help and clicked through till the answer. Quit avoiding the tough stuff. Trapezoid area, I got formulas up here, back there, all over the place. You add the bases together. I know, all the way from back in chapter 1, and I think I put it in chapter 2 also. Yeah, I know, because I make those notes. We add the bases together. Then we divide by 2 because we are averaging what the base is. And then that number gets multiplied by the height of the shape. I'm not done with this problem though because I still need to calculate the price. And I'm not finishing this problem for you because you shouldn't be copying answers right now. You should be checking what you did. So if you follow what 79 says, per tells us to divide, right? So we can divide in that order. Or, because there's oftentimes options, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So if I want to go from 3.6 miles in 33 minutes, how do I get up to, well, this is going to be almost times 2, right? But it's not quite times 2. How do I figure out if I don't know what to multiply by? Sophia? Divide it. Which way am I going to divide? 33 divided by 60 or 60? 60 divided by 33. Oh, I left my calculator current back here. Guys, if you end up buying a fancy pants calculator for high school, 1, keep track of it because they're $150. 2, these are sweet because they're rechargeable and they graph in color and everything else. Mine's just pink because it's a school version. 60 divided by 33, 1.81818181818. So leave it in your calculator and just bring it up top and hit times 3.6. So you should get about 6.54, which is also what I got going the other way. Yeah, math has sound effects.
I dig it.
If Daisy and Alexandra each, this is what you were asking me about. I just drew them really small and or underlined them. And that's why it says visualize or sketch. So you don't have, you don't have to draw the tiles out, but it might help you if you are still struggling with this. Also, what we're going to use today, you guys need a Chromebook up, and you guys are going to need a Chromebook up, by the way, just one for your team. We're going to look at the CP&E tool that lets us play with algebra tiles like really quickly, really easily, actually. Down here in 481, what I did is kind of silly. If you're using graph paper, what would make more sense for trying to visualize 21 out of 100? Carolina? So I do a 10 by 10. Guys, like your work is already pretty much done for you if you draw a 10 by 10 on your graph paper. 10, 20, 1. Or you didn't do it on graph paper and you just got to do a drawing like this. Got to make sure we have 10 columns. And then we got to show that we only, this still doesn't even, this is probably too big, honestly, for my, this is why graph paper. This is silly. I was in an airport. I didn't have graph paper. This is better. We have graph paper all over the place here. 82. Now, some of you might be upset by this, but it doesn't matter if you put something else. We can't technically say that this is a rhombus. Sorry. You can if you want to, if you measure them, if you find out that they're equal. But really, all we know from the picture is it's a parallelogram. If those lengths were equal, hey, what you doing, man? Okay, just checking because you look like real intense on your computer, and like hitting Schoology is not really that difficult of a task. And also, Archon's kind of got a smirk on his face that makes me question what you're doing.
He always has a smirk on his face.
I don't know. So if we knew that those were equal, we could call this also a rhombus. Guys, do not avoid learning these. You're only going to keep having to use them. Rhombus is every side equal to each other. So like a square is a rhombus. If these edges are all equal to each other, it's a rhombus. But like if we don't know, then we don't know. Sophia?
It's going to sound stupid, but
No, it's not.
why did you draw green triangles?
Oh, these lines, actually you might want to add this on your homework. If you draw arrows on your edges, that means those lines are parallel and they will never touch each other. That's what those arrows mean. Yeah, thank you for asking. Not your bad. That was definitely not a stupid question. That was a really good question. As we get deeper into geometry, we'll see more stuff like this. It's like, like what the pine tree or the...
Huh?
I had it in my head and I lost it. The geometry.
Oh. So funny.
Is it like the little triangle thing? Like, is that just like to show you? That's like, or do we have to put that?
So you don't have to, but you might benefit from adding those and making like the mental note right now. Oh, that means the lines are parallel. So you could also have those like arrows here, and you could also have arrows for the top and bottom. And when we do different sets, we just start to stack them. So if these lines are parallel to each other, and these lines are parallel, we can do like one set of arrows here, two sets of arrows there. We just kind of start to stack to keep them separate from each other. All right, moving on. Guys, some of you are making the diamond problems more difficult than they need to be. Think about your multiples that can make the top number, and then see how those can work with the bottom number, right? To add up to get the bottom number. We're getting into some decimal work, right? We're getting slightly more difficult. Don't avoid it. Come get help if you need. And I know, ooh, sorry, Jane.
Get some help.
Jane gets a piece of candy. What's 8 times 6? 48. What's a negative times a negative?
Positive.
So this should have been 48. So Jane, now whenever you want, top drawer. Guys, I am a human. At least that's what my robot coding tells me to tell you. I make mistakes.
I don't think he's human.
When you catch a mistake, catch it. get candy. That's also how I try to like keep myself like, all right, I can only give away so much candy because like I buy that, right? Like that's my money. So I don't want to give away tons of candy. I don't want to make a lot of mistakes, but it happens. Especially because I probably got distracted by something going on the plane or in the airport.
Why did you do this at an airport?
Because I was traveling over the summer and I wanted to make answer keys, so I just took my answer keys with me, and I was that nerd sitting in like waiting for the flight doing math.
I thought you did these like a week ago.
No, I did these last summer when my family went to Greece. Finally, we had a trip planned and then COVID hit, so we had to put it off. But then we finally got to go. It's really the only. Well, I mean, I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico, but like those are still kind of close to us. That was the first time I ever got to go to Europe, so it was pretty cool. Downplaying words. It was a very fun trip. Even though the units change, what we can recognize is this is times 2.5, and then it goes from inches into feet. But what you can recognize here is this is times 2.5, so this has to be times 2.5, and then it becomes feet, right? Because inches became feet, so we got to do. So then, how big is the patio? Find area of a rectangle. You know length times width, 175 feet squared. And 1 can of paint covers. Hey guys, can you go to the hardware store and say, I need 1.3 cans of paint, please?
No.
Can you say I need 1.5 cans of paint?
No.
What can you do? It's like, and if you've never bought paint before, you might not know. We've talked about it, so let me call them. Those are birds. So we could buy 2 cans, or has anyone ever gone and bought paint before?
Mhm.
Do you know where I'm trying to go with this, Kamal? Does it come in only one size?
Oh, they have.
So there's gallons and there's quarts, right? So when you solve a problem like this, you might say, well, I need a gallon and maybe a quart is enough, but here's the crazy thing. What does quart mean?
Like 1/2
Fourths, 4 or fourths, right? Quart. So a quart is a fourth of a gallon. Guess how much the price is compared to the gallon? It's like half the price of the gallon. So if you buy 2 quarts, you might as well have just bought a gallon. Like for real, because the quart can is a fourth of the size of the gallon, but it costs about half as much as the gallon. Because sometimes as you buy bigger, you save money. Like Costco or Sam's Club, right? That's their whole model. Like buy bigger, save money. Questions on those homeworks? Great, turn them in.
Yeah.
And then when you and your partner get back to your table, go ahead and start working on this on your graph paper. What's up? So you did all the work to convert from inches to feet and stuff is what it looks like. But yeah, if you got to the same answer, then you did essentially the same thing. Because the 17.5 is what we want for there. And we multiply, yeah, you're good. Yep.
Why are they straight?
I don't know. You'll go to language arts later. And
16 hours
so we want to figure out how to be efficient here. Guys, this is kind of why I fell in love with math. There's always, yes, I love math. You guys got to get comfortable saying you love things.
your wife?
No, she knows. I think I loved math before I loved her, if we're being honest. Math helps us figure out the best way to do things. So, there's a long way that we could do this. But there's also a much quicker, more efficient way. And that's the whole point of math, is like trying to figure out the efficient way to do these things. We talked about this efficient way yesterday, but I didn't make a big deal about it. Because today, it's a big deal. So you and your partner need to be trying to figure out what is the total perimeter of this shape, but also what's the quickest way that we could have actually figured that out. So chat with each other for a couple minutes. Yes, on graph paper. So like if you have yesterday's graph paper, you could keep going on that same graph paper. Perimeter. Do those negative x's matter?
No.
Nope, I was just bored and I wanted to make it look like a present.
Yay,
This and it's supposed to just be totally blank screen. You don't need to build it. You don't need to build it. I don't care. You're gonna have a chance to build in a minute. If you waste time now, we're not gonna get through what we need to get through, and we're not gonna be able to have homework time. Like I'm trying to get through what we need to get through quickly. Bless you. Bless you. Got a third one in you? Not going for the 3 feet? No, we're not on our Chromebooks yet. Like you're just doing this based off what we see up here. Alright, I think I have shuffled a fair amount. Lane, can you help me with one of these edges? You get to pick. Yeah, like for perimeter. Like one of the edges, right?
Oh, I mean left, I guess.
I mean that's what I you can choose.
It's 3 plus 2x.
And if we're gonna write it the better way, we start with the x value. So we'll say, crap, wait. The 3 got stuck in my head. So 2x plus 3, right? Devin's not here. Devin, come back to us. Matt, what about you want top or bottom? Sure, how big's the top? Say it louder. Yeah, have some confidence. All right, Eli, what about the right side? This feels kind of silly. Donna, what about the bottom? Now, I feel like that was not efficient.
What?
Well, it was
Hey, Ray,
lazy.
stop what you're doing. Where's your graph? So when I multiple times said we're doing this on graph paper, that counted for everyone except for you? We have 2x plus 3 on every edge. Now somebody over here mumbled something about couldn't we just? Eli? Okay. Say it louder. Couldn't we just multiply by 4 and say we have 4 sides that are each 2x plus 3? Because all 4 edges are the same. This is the distributive property. And this is why we're writing it on our paper. And to do the distributive property, I would always, I know you're going to get better at this, you're going to start feeling confident, you're going to stop drawing these. I'm going to tell you that's when you make mistakes. I would always draw the arrows either on bottom or on top, up to you. You can draw them on top connecting or on bottom connecting. But that reminds us we need to make sure we do both multiplications. Guys, the trap door here is you get excited, you're working quick, or you're like, there's a deadline, and you forget to do the second multiplication. But this 3 is also on each side. It happens 4 times. So when we do 4 times 2x, what do we get?
8x plus 12.
8x plus, and then 4 times 3, 12. Questions on that one?
Why don't you just do the problem as
Who what? I can't hear. Say it loud.
Why don't you just do the problem as inference?
What do you mean, do? We can't put those together because they're not like terms.
Then you just do them separately times.
You have to keep them separate because we can't add the 3 with the 2x because we don't know what x is. Remember, we don't know what x is. I threw my x over here somewhere. Remember, x could get longer. X could get shorter. And that's what we're going to play with in the algebra tiles tool if we have a chance to get to it. Try this one. I got bored. The one before was way too square. Get it? Because square also is like a word for like lame or bored. Okay, so try this one.
It was a dad joke because it was kind of bad.
RJ was on a conference call, hence his misspelling of the word here. I still don't think that's a good enough defense.
It's not. Just because you're in college doesn't mean you misspell.
Even though all four sides are not the same here, we can still do the same thing. Well, not the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But we can pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the holidays.
How do you change your ringtone?
I have it.
Get the holiday.
Wait.
Ah.
I changed my ringtone.
No, it doesn't. Hey, what?
Hey guys, guess what we're not here to talk about?
How to change your ringtone.
How to change your ringtone. Guess what we are here to talk about?
Math.
The distributive property. Come on, what about the top here? Yeah, that's all we care about. 4x plus 5. Arfon, what about the right side?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. And Emery's not here. Emery, where are you? Save, what can I do to make my life more efficient?
Oh, I know.
That's why I called on you.
Okay, so 2 times 4x plus 5 and 2 times x plus 2. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Donna. So, beautiful question. The 5 that we have from the top are the top edge 1, top edge 2, top edge 3, 4, and 5. So you're right, we already talked about that tile, but we didn't talk about this edge of this tile yet. So we still pick up an extra 1 right here, an extra 1 right here, and it is still x plus 2. Does that make sense? Great question, though. Seriously, really, really good question. 2 times 4x?
Hey,
Gotta say the x's, right? 2 times 5?
10 box.
2 times x?
2x. 2.
2 times 2?
4.
And then we can put like terms together. Sorry, this one I just made more festive. But we don't it's the same thing. Alright, what's our total here?
14.
10x plus 14. Now, really quickly, because we're running out of time and we're not going to get to Desmos, so you guys might as well shut your Chromebooks, because I know some of us are farting around doing something we shouldn't be on our Chromebooks. What? Well, so we're going to come back to this problem next week.
I need the answer.
Not really. You can work your way there. You can get there on your own. Factoring. The F word. Factoring. It's in your math notes. But the easy way to remember it, guys, factoring is undoing what we just did. So what we just did of like multiply both numbers. So if we came over here, I don't know why people are talking. I have like 4 minutes to try to get this into your brain. That would be distributive property. What we want to do to factor is pull out whatever common multiple could have made this. So on your graph paper, write down 12x plus 18. I will take a volunteer for this one because this is kind of tricky. What number could both 12 and 18 divide by? And we want kind of the biggest that we can find out. 6. So what we're going to do is say, all right, this whole thing could divide by 6. So now what we're going to write in factored form is we could write this as 6 times. Okay, what would we need to make that 12x? 2x. And what would we need to have made that 18? 3. Factoring is undoing the distributive multiplication.
I already know this.
So try 10 plus 15x on your own. Try 10 plus 15x. Who's annoyed that they put the x second? So you can fix it if you want. We could rewrite it as 15x plus 10. I'm going to rewrite it as 15x plus 10.
5.
What was that?
5.
5 what? Like, what? Do what with the 5?
5. Divide.
So then what we really get as our answer is, okay, that 5 is going out front now. So 3x
Plus 2.
plus 2, because when we do this and do this, we would have gotten 15x plus 10. I am sorry we didn't get to homework time. This is why I don't love Fridays, because class is even shorter. But we did get through everything we needed to get through. So good work, guys. Except for the thing I wanted to do in the algebra file. Hey, I'll show you real quick while you pack up. Check this out. If you... Actually, I might have my other... Are you guys singing Beastie Boys?
Maybe.
Alright, so check it. If you drag some x's into a space to work with them, and you can drag a 1, guys, look up here real quick. This slider lets us play with the size of x. And this is what we're going to mess with next week, is playing with what happens when x changes. Because I can make x equal to 1,
Oh my god.
or I can make it a whole lot bigger. Alright, have a great weekend.
You too.